for people to show up. Oh, I should pull out my sewing. That's right. I haven't touched this since last week because I've been, doing the convention and everything. Let's see. I'm on the color blue. Hi, one viewer. If you have any questions about Tolkien's languages, go ahead and ask. I will answer. Two people here. Hi. Again, just ask me any questions about Tolkien's languages. I have the chat bar, the group chat open, so we should be able to see them. I'm doing the chat a little bit, or the video a little bit more differently than I usually do. Usually I just hit the go live button. This time I went through the fancy way. That goes through Google Hangouts, and that way I can show you my screen if I need to. Is the chat not working? Am I not seeing the chat? This is about to get trippy. Oh, there is the chat. Okay. Okay. Now I feel better. Apparently this works a little bit differently than how I thought it did. Whee! Okay. Yeah. Yeah, new haircut, new hair. Well, not new hair, but yeah. I chopped a lot of hair off. I quite like it like this. It's so quick and easy to do. And no, I don't have my cup of tea. I have this thingy. This was given to me at the last convention I was at by one of the people running it. These little plastic bands come off. Apparently you're supposed to wear them to show that you've drank a full thing of water, but I don't care. I don't care. Different past tense suffixes, us and unt in Sindarin. Here we go. So the nt suffix this is for a verbs only. It's verbs that end with an a, and some a verbs are actually ta verbs, so they have a strong past tense instead of a weak past tense. Weak past tense means that there's a suffix added to it. So the s suffix is for intransitive verbs, and the nt suffix is for transitive verbs. This means that it's acting on something. So like if you hit somebody, that's transitive, and intransitive is like I'm sitting down. That's intransitive because you're not acting on anyone but yourself. And first person, second person, all the persons. So Sindarin divides, so first of all, first person, that's I, we, like that. I and we, in English anyways. Sindarin, there's 3 pronouns to consider. There's ni, which means I, me, which means us, excluding the listener, and then gue, which includes the listener. Second person, in English it's just you, but in Sindarin there's 3 different second persons. There is the informal, only talking to one person suffix, or also pronoun that is qui. And then there is the formal talking to one person, which is le. And then there's the plural, kind of like y'all, if you're from the South. But up here we say you guys. That's what we say. So yeah, it's just the plural version. And that's de. So yes, when there's no suffix that means, or when there's no pronominal suffix on the past tense suffix, that just means that it's third person singular, like he, she, it. So nice and easy. Yeah, I used to have really long, thick, unruly hair. And if you look at some of my old videos, you will see that really long, thick, unruly hair. But I just got really, really tired of dealing with it. So I don't do that anymore. Yeah, Emperor Richard. Stuff has changed a lot in the past few years. Let's see here. Pull it out. Largely thanks to this. Let's see if I'm getting this to look properly. Here. Is it? No. It's like this. Ta-da! This is Parma Eldolambro number 22. And Parma Eldolambro number 22 is, it overturns a lot of our theories about seen during first person plural suffixes, especially. The stuff about the second person, we've known that for a little while longer. That stuff is in here. I have it marked somewhere. That's about the reflexive pronoun. Also about the reflexive pronoun. I must have removed the marker I had for it, but yeah, it's in here somewhere. That gives us information about the ancient roots that Sindarin builds its pronouns off of, and then also a little bit of information about Sindarin's pronouns, so our second person pronouns. A lot of words are coincidentally spelled the same, but I don't think they're actually pronounced the same as they would be in Welsh. The Y, for example, in Sindarin is a very different vowel than it is in Welsh. So leaf is dail. Yeah, it's like pretty dainty. Like it was a breathing tongue? What's breathing tongue? Yeah, so Welsh Y is quite different from Senior Y. Oh, a living language. Okay, yeah. Yeah. And he kept changing his mind also. So there's that. Though I don't think he ever intended for anyone to actually speak the language. I don't think he thought anyone would actually be interested in it. So joke's on him. We're definitely interested and we're trying to speak it. Yeah. Tolkien's languages have a definite historical linguistics foundation. And not a lot of conlangs are made that way, actually, because it's a lot of work. And it doesn't lead to a lot of translations. It mostly leads to very thorough, very good vocabulary. But yeah, health stuff. Got, I call it milk whammied. I haven't had a really bad allergic reaction to dairy yesterday. It wasn't pleasant. I think it's the definition of unpleasant, yeah. Um, by high Elvish you mean Quenya, he did make the pronunciation a little bit similar to Quenya, to Latin, and Greek, actually. I think there's a stronger correlation with Greek pronunciation because he really liked the sound of ancient Greek. But did he base specific words off of it? Not unless he was borrowing a word, like wholesale. Like when he translated some of his Catholic prayers into Quenya, he would borrow in words like Jesus and Maria, things like that. But he wouldn't, I don't think he was specifically borrowing anything other than like proper names. I remember I did a translation for somebody a while back. They wanted prayer translated, but they wanted like the names of the deities changed to things like Manwe and such. And I remember as I was working on this, it's ruffled a lot of feathers when I was sharing the translation, trying to work on it. Because it had some tricky grammar in there. But yeah, because Tolkien would just take the names and just borrow them completely. So Eru Iluvatar isn't Tolkien's god exactly, which is interesting, I think. You know, it's a fantasy creation for him, not really connected to our world completely. As he would call it, a sub-creation. Explain elision. What you mean by elision? Falling over. Okay. So I started 16 years ago, Richard. There wasn't much in the way of really user-friendly sources for people who weren't linguists yet. And I was 15, so I started from scratch. Then I discovered Artelambian and studied from there, but I couldn't really understand all of it because I didn't have a degree in linguistics yet. But I got my degree in linguistics, and I continually gathered, these things. Yeah, let's see if I can get this looking properly. This one is my worn out copy. It is falling apart. You can see here, I tried to retape it a few times, but eventually it won. So yeah, I studied from the source material for the most part. But I am working on writing more stuff that you can use to study with. So yeah, I will grab some links for you. Oh, maybe this is a chance for me to show you. Now you can learn Elven languages without a degree in linguistics. Me and several other people have been working on making more user-friendly, more everybody-friendly versions of textbooks and material like that. Okay, so talking about vowel deletion at the end of a word. Sindarin doesn't have the vowel deletion that Quenya does. Well, in a few specific... Okay. I'm only thinking of one word that actually does do that. It's na. It means to or at. So instead of na adwiel, you say na dwiel. Yeah. But I think that's the only one. It's consonants that blend together in Sindarin, because Sindarin has already lost most of its final vowels. So. Okay, so I will show you guys the course I'm working on. By the way, the Kickstarter for it, fully funded, and it has only 24 hours left on it. So, yee! That's a good way. Okay, I'm going to screen share, and I will show you my Sindarin course. Share. Present to everybody. This is going to get... That got a little weird. Okay. So here we are, the Real Elvish Academy. And we go to Available Courses. Click on that. I think I might have to do a little bit of reorganizing of this thing here. So we want Gelio Evelyn 100. You can't view this unless you're logged into the website, by the way. but it's free to view. I have 10 lessons up so far. So lesson 1, politeness, explaining how politeness in Elven languages work. And then there's a quiz. And once you pass the quiz, you can go on to the next lesson. Ta-da! And it is based off of material that I'm working on. Here, see if I can get that for you. Beta. Here we are. This is the New Sinderian 101 beta version. This is it's not edited. This is the next lesson. And this is all the material I have written. This stuff is not edited, and it doesn't have any quizzes. So it's not interactive. But yeah, you can see here. 45 lessons. 45 lessons in total. So this is going to be exciting. Ta-da! Okay, I think we can stop the screen share now. For the new Sinderian course, this Sinderian 100, it's going to be free. I like drinking tea. That is very good. Good phrase to learn. Yeah. Yes, it's Novair means be good. And Namarie means like be goodness. Strive towards goodness sorts of things. But yeah, Sinderian course that I'm working on, it's going to be free. That's the whole point of funding it through Kickstarter. It's making it free. Let me grab the Kickstarter link so I can show you. Yay! You're back, Grace. Yay! Yeah, Novair is literally no, which means be, like the command, like you must be like this. And then Vair is mutated version of Mair, which means good. So be good. Farewell. It's basically what farewell means. If you think about what the words actually mean, fair means like to do. It's based off of French farir. Which also means to do. So fare well, do well. A lot of people like to translate it as Quiovai because that means live well. So, yay, you get to stay longer. Yay. I've done a few. I've actually done a few of those. Ominous grey skies of England. Yeah, I like it when it's a little bit cooler. I really like the fall and the spring. No, the heat wave has not ended here, by the way. All right, I shall pull up some Elvish poetry that I have done. Okay. Screen sharing again. To everybody. Okay, here we are. So I've done some that are original, like this one up here. This one is a translation of, so we've got a few here. Oh, I really like the Fall of Gilgalad. That's, I think, my favorite in my translations. Okay. Gilgalad oran ddelen, I thelgain linerothen, I vedwi dor feinelein, min erudar I iaron. Megil din and excel din lag, sol hilo din palantirnen. Ingil uenedwi menel, Dyrnin bo thand gelebrin din, ach northas wachae omenio, ubenista I had ortha, Gino din dannas na duath, I vortor in nori merchaint. It's a little bit outdated, this translation, but it's mostly good. And then I did the Riddle of Strider. This one is a little bit of an older translation. I think I would do it a little bit differently now, but Malath uthiliar, randirath uvistar, brunath vil ufirir, heleg uvab thundind. Nauro lith lachatha, gaulo dar labatha. Christ trist peniathar, penbeth riadaran. So yeah, I would do things a little bit differently. Things like the future tense has changed a bit in Sindarin. So this is an older one. This is another older one. This is Boromir's riddle. Tyrio niris tristanen. Mim ladris idorthatha. Aberiethar vair fithangin. Dalwith benin morgol ogol. Tierethar ennas machbin. An amar thfer delietha lim. Dagnir ithildur echuatha. Ariberian ethelitha. Yeah, a lot of things have changed since then. Like the future tense is used throughout here. Yeah. Let's see. Athelas. Yeah, I did this one too. See how well it's aged. Iri thul vorn thuia a guruthos galar a kaladath guanar. Okay, this would change. The mutation after and. Yeah, this is an old one too. Tolo athelas, quilna ben firiel min gam aran havel. Yeah, havel would change too. They have a different verb now. Angurth aran waith. Avoninio hi beleg hi ben vannen, mairi bethedin. Irigum din orthanen bis niniar. Althkan hi amen. This one has aged quite well. Mostly because it doesn't use the future tense. So, yep. Okay, time to turn off the screen sharing again. I'm back. I have not done the Lay of Nimrodel. I like the Lord of the Rings movies. It's pretty much as good as we were going to get for movie adaptations. I mean, there's things that I don't like. They did, like, turn up the melodrama a little bit. You know, they made Aragorn a much more of a main character than he was. Because in the book, Aragorn has most of his story has already happened. He's already made the choice to do what he does. So in the movies, in order to give him a story arc, they moved his choice into the story. But yeah. Otherwise, I like him. I do wish that they had made Frodo a little bit less passive, too. It seemed like he just, you know, it's like he wasn't really allowed to get angry. And the only time he did get angry, it was bad. But in the book, he does get angry. And, you know, anger there is a way to motivate yourself to, you know, do things, not just bad emotion, avoid at all costs sort of thing. So yeah, I have mixed feelings on the movies, but I do like them. And okay, the props, the set design, just wow. they really outdid themselves. And you know, in a lot of movies, it seems like, oh, it's all about the actors. It's all focused on the actors, how amazing the actors are. And when you watch their behind the scenes sorts of stuff, it's all about, oh, look at how amazing our big name actor is. And in the Lord of the Rings movies, it was so much better because you did not get that feeling. Like, it was, you know, only about this tiny part of the production. They put so much love and care into showing, like, how they made all the props and, you know, making these gigantic miniatures, things like that. You know, they put front and center the crafting and the work, you know, the majority of the work that went into the movie. And I really appreciated that. So, and, you know, and when you're watching the movie, you know, the props themselves are almost characters, and they're given the same amount of, like, love and attention when you're watching it, because, you know, they've crafted the stories of all these things into the objects to give them that much more weight. And because they have that extra weight, you can, you know, they treat it like it does. So yeah. There are a lot of things about the movies that I really, really like. But the Hobbit movies, you can really tell that it was a lot more rushed. So that so much more of the movies was entirely CG. So, you can tell that these are really good actors, but they are acting against things that they don't see, that like there's no way that they're seeing what we're seeing in the screen, and it's really obvious. So I wish that they had given Peter Jackson another 3 years to plan the movies, the Hobbit movie, and made it one movie. 2 if you wanted to include the stuff about Gandalf, but keep that separate, doesn't have to do all at once. That's I think somebody put together all of the Gandalf's little excursions. So I think it was like only 40 minutes or something. But still, it seemed to slow down the story a lot. So I understand why Tolkien didn't include it. But yeah. Yeah. I have feelings, mixed up feelings. And I think they did pretty well. And the actors just did amazing. In all the cases, pretty darn amazing. Okay, so there's that rant done with. Oh, do you guys want to hear about Kudo and EchoCon? Because I had a blast. It was their 10th anniversary, and it was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Here, I'll type it for you. Kudo NekoCon. It's in Spokane, and it was their 10th anniversary, and it's an anime convention. But for some reason, my books sell really, really well at anime conventions. I don't know why. So I sold all the books that I took with me. I brought 18 books, and they all sold. So the end, that last day, I was just selling bookmarks and hello, my name is stickers. Here, I'll show you guys some of the bookmarks and stuff. I still have everything out so that... Oh, yeah. I wrote a fan's guide to Neo Sindarin. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, nice. There's my name, Fiona Jolings. This is the beat-up version that I use for teaching students. So I had to get a new shipment of books in. They're fresh from Amazon. This is a tin for Chinese mooncakes. My grandmother gets them in the mail occasionally, so. Mutating words behind or after that in which. It depends on whether it's modifying a noun, like it's a relative pronoun. So things like the boy who cried. Who there is a relative pronoun and not I know who cried. Not like that. because then it's just connecting it to a verb. So when it's connected to a noun, you do mutation. We don't actually know if it would do mutation on the other one, and when it's connected to a verb, but I don't, just to distinguish it between the two. We don't actually have any examples. So yeah, bookmarks. You know, I have a whole rainbow of bookmarks. They look kind of like wallpaper. It was a set of crafting paper. Not crafting paper. Oh, scrapbooking paper. There we go. It was a set of scrapbooking paper that was labeled Art Nouveau. So I figured that it would work well. So I did one side a plain bright color, and then the other side pretty print. That's what most of these are. Yeah. Then I have a few leftovers from other sets. These ones are fun. It's the Art Nouveau paper again, but this is made with, you know, the Art Nouveau paper is pretty thin, and it's not very good for bookmarks. So I stuck two of them together with a double-sided duct tape, and it makes this really cool texture. It feels kind of like cloth. It's nice and cushy. It feels really, really nice. So that's these sizes. And then I've got a whole bunch of pictured ones. These ones are, oh, this is not one of those. It's a different set. They are blank on one side, so I can write as much as I want on them. Okay, bye, Richard. Yeah, that's what most of my bookmarks are too. But I sell these so that I can write people's names and Tangor on them usually. Sometimes just a phrase. These ones are like crafting paper. They're a little bit nicer, I think. Yeah. Here's some more of the picture ones. This one's nice. It's a wave washing up. Quite proud of that one. They're all from pictures that I took ages ago. Back when I was fancying myself a little bit of a photographer. And then I have Hello, My Name Is stickers that I sell. So this one says Inigo Montoya. So yeah, I have ridiculous wads of Hello, My Name Is stickers that I go through pretty quickly at conventions. I suppose I could put some photography up on Instagram. I'm not very good at keeping up with my Instagram. And usually when I post on Instagram, it's pictures of my cat because my cat is awesome and I worship her. Well, part of it for me is that I now live in town, and most of the time when I was doing photography, I was living in the countryside. There's a lot more things that I like taking pictures of in the countryside than there are in town. Thank you. I will let my cat know that. As I do every day. At Crew and EchoCon, I actually forgot my big poster. This is my poster. It's basically the cover of my book. And I forgot it at home. Like, I remembered everything else, but I forgot my freaking poster. I felt so naked without it. I still sold a lot of books, though, so there's at least that. Yeah, whoever says that cats and dogs don't get along too well, doesn't know very many cats and dogs. They get along great. Like, growing up, we had this cat named Mama Cat. She looks a lot like Muyor, actually. And we had a dog named Macy. So Macy would come find Mama Cat every morning, and then Mama Cat would latch her claws on either side of Macy's face, and then just start licking and cleaning out her face, and then stick her. She was a tiny cat. Macy was a Doberman, and she would stick her whole face into Macy's ear and lick and clean, and Macy would just sit there like, "Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm a very unclean dog. Sorry." Like that. And, yep, every single morning. Macy the dog would get a very thorough cleansing from the cat. Like, almost like they were expecting that. Almost like it was their daily ritual or something. Yeah. That's a good name. Yeah, that's a good name for a cat. Yeah. I remember one of our dogs growing up. It was a Shetland sheepdog. We named him Bogey. I think his name was originally Beau, as in the French word Beau. But we thought it sounded too much like no. So if you were calling the dog's name, the dog would think that you were scolding him. So we changed it to Bogey. Like, I'm Bogey on the 6, or on my 6, that sort of thing. He was a very loving dog, but very bossy. I remember he had to keep the group together, and he would run back and forth and try to herd everyone together. And when we had ducks for a while, he would herd the ducks all together and then run right through them, and then you go like that. Yeah. But that's a very good name for a cat. Any more questions about Elvish? Or should I talk more about Critter and EchoCon? That's... Yeah. Intransitive suffixes. No, that's not all of them. So you have... Yeah, I gotta type this. So you've got first person. Sin. Second person. Third person. Oh gosh, the Benadryl's making me sleepy. Then Alexa. Yeah, allergic reactions suck, by the way. I have a really weird allergic reaction. Basically, act kind of drunk, get dizzy, sleepy, a little bit nauseous. Then I pass out. You're welcome. And yes, dogs are beautiful and wacky creatures. Yeah, allergic reactions aren't fun. I mean, a normal allergic reaction would be like itchy spots all over or something like that. I almost wish I had a more typical allergic reaction, so I could say, no, I'm not drunk. I am actually just reacting to like microscopic amounts of butter on something. Yeah, speaking of that, my wife found this for me. It is a vegan cookie, snickerdoodle cookie. It does not taste like snickerdoodle. It tastes pretty awful, actually. It's pretty terrible. It's kind of like chewing on wheatgrass or something. Blech. But it's got plenty of sugar on top. Yeah. Food allergies are terrible. I'm not vegan, but often the only way for me to get food that is safely no butter, no milk whatsoever is to go for the vegan option. And it's unfortunate because I don't really like a lot of vegan food. Sometimes, though, it's The only thing that might not put me in the hospital, sort of thing. So, there are some vegan things I like. I think they like coconut too much. I don't like coconut. So yeah, I often end up with a vegan option just because I can make certain that it probably hasn't touched any dairy. So I won't get sick. Most people, like the vast majority of people, are allergic to mosquitoes, by the way, which is why you get the raised bump and that itch. Yeah, it's an allergic reaction. Yeah. With allergic reactions, I believe it's you need exposure to the thing in order to become allergic to it, because it's your body creating antibodies, labeling something as dangerous to you when it isn't actually. So, it's your immune system creating dragons to fight. And my immune system apparently is very bored, so I'm now allergic to dogs, a bunch of grasses, some trees that flower in the spring and fall, and dairy. Yeah, most people are a little bit allergic to bug venoms because they're designed to be that way. Like their bug venom is full of caustic stuff that makes it itchy. So yeah, you probably actually are allergic to a few things, but probably not dangerously allergic. So yeah, both have mutations, but senior mutations take it to a whole nother level. Tolkien really, really liked his mutations. So, oh, that's right. I was talking about Kudo and EchoCon. Yeah, lots of fun. Like I got to meet people who called themselves my fans, which was really weird because I don't really think of myself that way as somebody who has fans. And apparently there was a whole bunch of excitement about my panels, and I was like, what? What? Oh, okay. Yeah. That was weird. Like somebody standing in front of my booth hyperventilating. But yeah. Oh, you need to lead? Or you need to leave? Modded is what you'd say. Boyanin modded. Yeah, it's a I verb, so ed is the suffix, not odd. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Enjoy your meal. Bye-bye, Grace. Anybody have any other questions about Tolkien's languages? Okay, bye-bye, Grace. See if I can get this. Oh, almost. Okay. Just one strand left. Oh, okay. How was life, Elaran? Yeah. Yeah. I sold 18 books. And that was all of the books that I had with me. So, yeah, that felt really good. Oh, I think the last time I sold a whole bunch of books like that was Oricon. But Oricon, it cost so much to get there and everything. They didn't actually come out with a profit, but still, I sold like 10 books in one sitting, which was, quite the ego boost. Yeah, before I left for the convention, because I knew that I only had 18 books with me, and I figured, usually about 12 sell. So we'll probably need more books. So I ordered another batch of books from Amazon about a week before I left. So I have a new box of fresh, brand new books here right in my office right now. So, but there's only 15 of them. Hopefully they will all sell. And then I can just order another box for the donation perks. It's all right, Grace. I'm happy to have you around. Well, they're brand new books. They smell kind of like their ink. I know I'd have to dig them out there underneath stuff. So, okay. See you next week, Grace. Namarie. Oh, I do pay actually. I pay the printing cost and the shipping cost, but I don't have to pay the full book price. So each book is $5.60. I ordered 15, so that's like 70 something dollars. And then you add the shipping on top of that. I think it was $80 total. So yes, I do have to pay. And 15 books I will sell for $25 each at conventions. And I sign them and personalize them. So it's an $80 investment, just for the books. And then 15 books would be, I think, $375. So there's the profit. I keep track of all this stuff pretty carefully. So yeah, I just go to the Create Space page, and there's a link on it for ordering your own book, ordering copies of your own book. The Kickstarter campaign has only, I think at this point, less than 24 hours left. Let's see here. Yeah, it's just got 24 hours left to go. And it is at $1,687. 40 backers. I was asking for $1,200. So I'd say that is one month's worth salary. But it's not really enough for me to completely quit my job. So, because I still need to work the rest of the year. So the Kickstarter is just a windfall that only lasts about a month. But hopefully I will make plenty of money at the convention. Drink. Oh, that is the fringe finished. Yeah. We do have a kind of niche interest here. French knots can be difficult sometimes. Yeah. And one interesting thing that comes with this whole Kickstarter thing is is that because of it, some people, instead of going to the Kickstarter, have elected to go to the more regular donating, the monthly donating, which is interesting. Like they didn't want to go through Kickstarter, so they went through PayPal instead, which is nice, cuts out a middleman. I think more than our interest attracting people, I think it more attracts people who don't want to do the work itself, but instead want somebody else to do the work for them. I think that's the majority of people who find us. Like, oh, great, somebody who wants to do Elvish, wants to learn a language. That's a lot of work, and I don't want to do it, so other people can do it. Waha. And I'm like, I will gladly do it. That is the sort of nerd I am. Yeah, and the Gish stuff actually did help a lot there, because you know, lots of people not willing to do the work of figuring out the puzzle themselves, but plenty willing to pay me to do it for them. So I would do it for people with the thing of like, please consider donating. So that's what people did. But I was always careful to remind people that, you know, if you can't afford to, please don't. All right, now I just need to fill in the rest of the French dots, then I can get working on the lines on here. Yeah, lots of fans, not as many linguistic enthusiasts. I think there is this myth out there that, especially among monolingual people, that language is this impenetrable, scary, super difficult thing. Yeah. And that we can't possibly, or that they can't possibly learn how to do it themselves. But the truth is, it's not that difficult. I mean, I don't mind being clouded with this mystique of, oh, she does this thing that's so hard. But it's actually not that hard. And I think that sometimes we build up the mystique of it so that, you know, we can get attention or stuff. Yeah, the Quenya 101 guy seems to rub a lot of people the wrong way. Remember, he tried connecting with me and such, and he wanted to affiliate, but it's kind of turned off by his approach a little. But now I'm having to do similar things, so yeah. But he approached it first as a business, second as, you know, being part of the fan community. I think that's what turns a lot of people off. And I approach this as fan first, business second. Actually, maybe fan first, scholar second, business third. I haven't been very good at, you know, like thinking about how I can make money off of things. Yep. I tied this French knot a little bit too tight to pull out with pliers. One thing I've been thinking about doing is making a part of my website a place where I post links to trustworthy translations on things, because people like their stuff and like the translations on stuff. So I've been thinking that I could let people host their products, if I've inspected them, made certain that they were proper translations, no errors in them. And then if there was an error, I'd work with the person to make certain that the translation was correct. So I think that people do want, trustworthy translations on things like t-shirts and rings and so on. Oh, hi, Grace. Welcome back. We're discussing the business side of things. Your dog is very cute, by the way. So yeah, what was my train of thought? Yes. So yeah, I'm thinking of starting up a page or a part of the website where people can find trustworthy translations on things. And they don't have to worry about stuff like is this just a font translation? And they just turned it into the font, and I see so many of those. Oh gosh. Or it's just like a really bad one. And since learning about Tangor, the Gandalf font, which is really, really bad, I have started seeing it in other places, on other things. Like, I found a shirt that is supposed to say Zachary. Kind of does. But it's using the Gandalf font, and then I recognized it, and I was like, oh, that is why that is all wrong. It's like, at least a little bit legible, like you can kind of understand it. But still, nope. But why? It doesn't look good. That font just looks so bad. Is it like easier to use or something, or? Oh gosh. Yeah, that's. So I think pretty soon here, I'm going to start reaching out to people who put Tangor and stuff and say, hey, so your process has a few problems. Here's spelling errors. People really worry about about the translation being correct. So here, partner with me. I will do the transcriptions for a small fee. And and I'll link to it on my website, and then you will have a correct transcription, and people will know that it is correct. Yeah, I think you're right, Akin. Because it is such a problem that the Tengwar writing system just does not fit our writing system very well, or our keyboards very well. So you really do need to have a different setup. And gosh. Okay, so Tengwar Gandalf, the L's are backwards. I still haven't gotten over that. It's just like so incredibly lazy. Like they couldn't be bothered to get the L facing the correct direction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually kind of a good thing, Grace. It means that you're improving. And I look back at a lot of the stuff I did back in high school, and I'm like, what was I even doing? What on earth is this? Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. So I could have like a little page with different places, and like this one is great. You can use this one. I'm also in the process of adding Tengwar. Where the heck did I put my needle down? Dang it. No. It's not on the terrible snickerdoodle. Ah, found it. Yeah, me too. When I first started, it was like a blend between Quenya and Sindarin, because I had a lot of trouble finding any sort of information on Sindarin grammar. So there was a lot more stuff I could find on Quenya in Tolkien's writings. So I was just kind of blending the two and thinking that, oh, they're related languages, right? And if you look at stuff from translated around the same time by amateur fans that haven't really gotten into the scholarship yet, and yeah, it's all very much like that. And for a while there, I would like ridicule that sort of stuff, but it was more like I was ridiculing myself because, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made these mistakes. Ooh, going back and retranslating some of the old translations I did. It's like, yeah, it's a learning process. One of the things I had difficulty with, or remember, is that Tolkien doesn't very consistently use linguistic terminology. So sometimes I would be like, okay, I'm getting this, I'm understanding this. Then he would say something, or then there would be another passage, and I would be completely lost. So I'm glad my book was able to help. That was the whole point of writing it. Whee! Yeah. One of the reasons that I get so like aggressive about misinformation is that, I'm pretty trusting. And, before I knew how to tell the difference between the bad sources and the good sources, I would just trust somebody when they said that, oh, yeah, I know how to use this language. I'm totally an expert in it. And so I, would run into a lot of bad sources, totally believe in them, and then, be really mad when I found out that the person was just making stuff up, you know? And there's nothing like being the person who was duped that makes you evangelize the opposition quite so much. It's kind of like, when you look at people protesting against a religion or something like that, it's usually the loudest voices are the people who used to be in it, who were duped by it and then discovered how incredibly wrong it all is. So, yeah. When I first started out, all of the easy sources that user-friendly sources that I tried to use were full of shit. And I collected a file that I called a Elvish dictionary on my computer, and I organized it. And it was just every single Elvish dictionary purporting to be Tolkien Elvish that I could find on the internet. And going back over it, I realized that most of it was utter crap. As I started learning stuff, and that, some of the stuff that was like taking from Tolkien was actually just so full of errors. But one good side of it is that because of that, I was able to say, okay, I know where this information, like I would look at people's translations and be able to say, okay, I see where you're making a mistake here. This is the bad source you're using. You want to cut this website out. So being familiar with the bad sources is good in a way. I remember I was really mad when I figured out that, when I actually inspected carefully Arwen and Drombiel's website and realized that it was full of crap. And I tried to help with that, but they were not amenable to the idea that their perfect queen could have made any errors. So probably wasn't very tactful either. I'm not very good at being tactful. That's one thing that's kind of holding me back on this whole contacting people who are trying to sell Elvish stuff and saying, hey, this is wrong. People usually seem to think that if you're saying this is wrong, that meaning that this is wrong and you should feel bad and you are bad. But no, that's not what I mean. I'm not very good at communicating that. It's just part of the whole being autistic. Yeah, that was my work that they're using there. But they still have the old name lists, which I told them were really, really bad. And they really should get rid of. But I get obsessed over these sorts of things. And not everybody shares my passion or knowledge or need to make things, trustworthy. Yeah. Woot. Autistic love. Woot. Hello, new person. I don't really know what it takes to be an official language. What do you think it takes to be an official language? It's not like it has a country it represents. In a linguistic sense, it's a dead language. A dead language that has never been lived. That has never lived. Okay, bye-bye, Grace. Have fun walking your dog. And I'll see you next week. Super Dude X6. It's an interesting name. Oh, thank you. Glad you're gaining an interest in languages. I don't know if you know this, but I also have an interest in languages. and I find it quite fulfilling. Yeah, learning languages isn't as hard as people like to hand-wring over it being, and it's more difficult in other ways that people don't think of, or that not in the fictional world anyway. That's one of the topics I'm going to be doing at this next convention, because I'm doing another convention. It's called Spokon, also in Spokane, and I will also be driving all the way there and all the way back. And I will also have none of my assistants, so it'll just be me. I think they gave me a really big spot. I'm wondering how I'm going to fill it. I guess spread out my bookmarks really, really far, maybe. I only got 15 books, so it's not going to make a very large pile. Well, and I'm glad that you are embracing learning languages. It's really useful and very important pastime, I think. Especially as English speakers, we need to learn lots of languages. Seems like English speakers expect the rest of the world to just learn English instead of learning other languages, which I find kind of an annoying mindset. But yeah, probably not what you would consider an official language, because it doesn't have a country or a home, really. Not one that's not fictional, anyways. I remember there was some talk for a while there about making like a Elvish speaking commune to try to make it a living language, but I think that's a pretty terrible idea. It does grow and evolve, but in a really interesting way. It's not at all like normal languages. It grows and evolves with every publication of Tolkien's notes. Yeah, there was some talk, I remember, back on the Google Plus community about creating like a little commune up in Montana, because apparently Montana is where you go for communes. And nothing came of that, as far as I know. The thing is, living in a commune, cut off from outside world, outside culture, is quite different from like modern living. And I don't think that most modern people have the skill sets to be able to pull something like that off. Now, my parents were hippie homesteaders, and they did actually have the skills to pull it off. My mom has a degree in animal husbandry, a master's degree, I believe, in animal husbandry, which means being a veterinarian, but specifically a veterinarian for large animals, like horses and sheep and cows. So she knows all about raising animals, and she studied extensively raising animals. You know, from when she was from a young age on, actually. So she actually knew how to handle animals. And my dad is an engineer. So, and they're also not completely cut off from the outside world, you know. We would still go shopping for things like sugar and flour, you know, every couple months. But a lot of, like, most of the food that we had was, living off the land. And it is a lot more difficult than people seem to think. It's a lot more work. And you need a lot of specialized skill sets. So I think that an Elvish speaking commune, just to speak the language, would fail pretty quickly. I think that most of the people who would be interested in it do not have the skills, the training to live that way. So, yeah. And that's from having grown up on a hippie homestead. With hippie parents who lived off the land in Montana. You know, a lot of people don't realize this about Montana, but we actually have a lot of diversity, like in ranchers and such. Like, people think, oh, red state, but it's a lot more complex than that. And in fact, I would say that it's only about 60% red state. And that we have a lot more political diversity here than we do, like a lot of other places do. Just because people can be a lot more isolated out here. And, you know, isolate themselves in ways that means that their belief systems are never challenged. So we got a lot more diversity out here, and we also get a lot more wackos out here. A lot of cults. And when I hear people talking about an Elvish-speaking commune, all I keep thinking is, another one. Yeah. Sorry I went off on that rant. And Montana is a pretty nice place to live, except in the fall, or early fall, because that is fire season. The fire season sucks. And it's particularly bad right now because of global warming, because a lot of forests are burning down because of the change in the climate. It's becoming too arid for the type of forests that had been growing. So there's a lot of dead trees out there that are crispy and ready to burn. It's often here in Missoula, especially because we live in this ancient glacial bowl or glacial lake. was called Lake Missoula. And if you look up at the hillsides and such, you can see the old shorelines. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But the uncool part of it is that it's so smoky. It just traps all, like there's inversion here. So it traps all the smoke and all the crud inside the valley. And it doesn't have anywhere to go. So there are parts of the year where they issue air quality advisories and such, which say if you have any kind of breathing lung problems or something like that, don't go outside. Stay inside if at all possible. You don't want to breathe. You don't want to breathe this soup. There aren't very many fires in Montana, and the smoke here, like there's a bit of haze, but it's not too bad right now. We recently had a little bit of rain, so that helps. Of course, rain in the fall is few and far between. So there haven't been any like really bad fires that are close. It's more smoke that's blowing in from Washington right now in California, or like the smoke that's already. I need to pay attention when I'm poking my needle in here. So, yeah, it's been all right so far. Not too bad for the fire season. You can still see through the haze. You can still see, the mountains, Mount Jumbo, Mount Sentinel. You can still see them. It's not like I think it was last year where just up the valley was burning. That was getting kind of scary. But no fires real close. Not yet. And, one nice thing about all these fires having been so close to us here is that this means they won't come back. Not for a while, anyways. Not in the same ground, because it's already been burned. So we've had fires on both sides of us in the valley, in the Hellgate Valley and the other direction. I forget. There's a special name for that ravine. But yeah, when it gets really bad, it's kind of like a dense fog. You can only see like a few meters in every direction. It's when it gets really bad. The mountains are completely blocked by the smoke. Sometimes even the sun will be blotted out. And it gets much worse here in Missoula than it does in much of the rest of the state, because in much of the rest of the state, the smoke doesn't stay. It blows on by. But here in Missoula, we are the smoky bowl, and it just sort of sticks around until it rains. And it usually doesn't rain until the end of fall. But we had a little bit of rain, so a little bit better. We're also hoping that we had a really long, wet spring this year. Like it was raining in June. Usually June is when things start drying out, but nope. It was cold and rainy all the way up into June. And that means that hopefully that means that the fires won't be too bad in Montana. At least around here anyways. Because the vegetation will be too lush. But on the other hand, that means that it could mean that the vegetation is, much thicker, and in the dry part of the year it all dries out, and then there's more fuel for the fire. So it could go either way. This is fun. Sewing these little waves in the dress, little things. So it means that I have to do a very tight stitch. Yeah, there are maps that you can check out which have all the fires that like the Forest Service keeps track of them, and smoke jumpers keep track of them. And so there's lists of all the little fires. But I think that California is getting the worst of it. Their drought is still going on, so everything is just dry and ready kindling. Is there a word in scenery for forest fire? I want to say like tawar naur, or nor, not naur. Or maybe the other way. Nor tawar. Yeah. Tor, nor. Oh gosh, that sounds terrible. Here we go. Lachalad. Leaping flame of the tree. It sounds nice and menacing. Lachalad. Yeah. Well, it is almost 1 o'clock. So that means I will have to close this down. I will finish this line. Okay, any last questions? People who are here. About Elvish, about Kuronekokon, about Spokon, about forest fires in Montana. I give you until I finish stitching this little seam on the dress. Because I'm in the middle of something and I don't want to stop. No worries. It's something that's on our minds a lot right now, because Montanans are, well, at least Missoulians are pretty used to looking at the sky and going, how bad is it going to be this year? How's the snowpack doing? here we are at the end. All right, guys. That marks the end of another hanging out time. This is a live stream. Yes, that's the word. That's the word. Marks the end of another live stream. So, Namariel.